be great if women just came out and said, you know what? I want to see this video. I want to see a woman come out and say, you know what? I think we did this. I think that we felt really insecure about the fact that we couldn't lift our own damn suitcase up the stairs, or really insecure about the fact that we are weaker than men. And so we had this message of, we don't need you, right? We don't need you to take care of us. We don't need anything. And we put that out there without realizing it was going to bite us in the ass, when ultimately, really, we do want to be taken care of. And we do want somebody to lift our suitcase into the overhead compartment. And we do want all of those things. So we effed up. Guys, we're sorry. We're really sorry that we effed up. And can you go back to the way it was? And in turn, we will actually turn back into females and stop acting so masculinized in the process. That would be great. Guys, do you want to see that video?
Women aren't pissed because American men are single. They're pissed because men are happy about it. That was never supposed to happen.
If you're a guy, you feel like all women hate all men right now, it's true. I'm going to explain why. Because right now we're experiencing this maternal rage. Whenever anyone gets hurt, could be an animal, a child especially, another woman, another man, doesn't matter, and that person doesn't get punishment, there is no justice, we get so angry, the blood boils, and we see every person who is a predator in our eyes, usually a male figure, unfortunately, we get angry. So give us some grace, be patient, don't try to say women are evil too. We know there are evil people across the genders. It's not about that. It's not like a gender war. We're just angry and we feel unsafe, and that's all it is. We feel hopeless. So by being patient, listening to us, if you have friends, family, whoever, women in your life being very concerned about whatever else stories, they're horrified. Also, female psyche is more sensitive to these fears. Since the very young age, we're looking over our shoulders, checking for danger. Just try to understand, have some sympathy, and then we'll repay you back with kindness. They're a good man, be a leader. Just prove us that you're different, because we are very doubtful right now. We'll be okay.
The script said single men would be miserable, lonely, desperate, stuck doom-scrolling dating apps, begging for attention. Instead, 2026 shows men lifting, earning, traveling, gaming, sleeping peacefully, and spending their money on themselves. No panic, no rush, no fear. And that's what really worried them, because happiness was supposed to be the leverage.
Up on women. Let's face it, the red pill community was not built overnight. As both a woman and a psychotherapist, my journey has been humbling to say the least. The number one reason that men have given up on women and on love is solely because the gap between men and women is getting larger and larger. With women, there's the movement of, I don't need no man. And then with men, you have that movement of women are a liability. So in my practice, I try to teach clients how to close that gap. The truth is that relationships and genuine love is beautiful. And it's a really powerful achievement. Man or woman, let's face it, we need one another.
It's just not worth it anymore. We don't need drama in our life anymore.
So yesterday, I made a video in which I put out my theory that the majority, or at least most men that are single, are not as lonely as a lot of individuals out there would like us to believe. In fact, from the majority of the comments from men, most men have actually found it rather peaceful being single. And this seemed to upset some individuals, and by some I mean some women, some of whom left some very disparaging comments in regards to what they thought of me. But it doesn't matter what they think of me. What I want to know is, why would some women get upset that men are more happy single than they were in relationships? Because I think we all know that sometimes it's worse to be in a relationship with someone.
Men were trained to believe being alone was failure, that bachelorhood was a waiting room until a woman chose them. But once men realized solitude comes with quiet mornings, predictable finances, zero emotional audits, and full control of their time, the fear tactic collapsed. You can't pressure a man who enjoys his own company.
Right, my hair's wet, but forgive me because I felt ranty. Right, do you know what? I woke up this morning, I looked in the comments of one of my posts, and do you know what I've realised? Women are very disturbing in 2026. Women are very, very disturbing creatures. Because, obviously, I'm moving to Albania, you all know about this, and so many of the worst comments and opinions, all of them, come from women. And that's nuts to me. What happened to women supporting women? What happened to women not trashing women? What's wrong with you people? Right, so, and I don't mean all of you, I mean the ones who know what they're doing. Right, so here's a couple of comments that I'm absolutely fuming with. So one said, you should be at home with your children, not gallivanting around the world. That's one. Number two was, at your age, And number 3 was something like, I think most people wish they could just up their lives and run away from their lives, or something like this. So I'm going to address all 3. Number 1, I'm going to go for women want to run away from their lives. That just sounds like jealousy. If you want to go and leave your life, go and leave your life. I'm not actually running away from my life. I'm just moving it. So loads of people relocate. It's not that abnormal, but whatever is wrong with you, that sounds like jealousy. So that's a you problem, not a me problem. Number 2, at my age, right, do you know, I'm only 40. I'm not dead. But also, I'm very young 40, by the way. Most people do know this. If you know me really well, you'll know. I act much younger than 40. But also, do you know people actually retire abroad at like 65, 70, 80? Do you mean at my age? You do it at any age. It's the beauty of living on planet Earth. You can do what you want when you want. Jeez. Right. And number 3, that also just sounds like jealousy, by the way. Number 3 is about my children. I should be at home with my children. All right, Dark Ages. If you want to stay chained to the kitchen sink, I'm not coming to attack you or judge you for it, but that's not me, right? So firstly, this dramatism around where I should be and where my kids should be. Number 1, you don't actually know the arrangements because you're not in my life or my family. Number 2, what does it even have to do with you? Why are you being so triggered? Number 3, do you know how many children in England are raised in boarding schools and don't see their families for months on end? I've never done that. Do you know how many parents are in the military or have jobs that require them to travel all the time? It's not that weird. It's 2026. It's 3 hours away. It's not Mars. Like, relax. Oh my God. So I've said before, and I'm going to say it again. My ex-husband, the kid's dad, is a Royal Marine, and he was a Royal Marine since Jasmine was born. She's 15 now. So he lost a hell of a lot of time with Jasmine until he left when she was like 8, 9 years old. He lost a lot of time with her. He was away for months on end, and he always feels that he lost a huge, huge chunk of time with his daughter growing up. Then, obviously, we had Layla, and I've always been, since we broke up, the parent that they live with. He's absolutely ecstatic to get this time. The kids are ecstatic to get this time with him. I'm going to be around plenty, and they're all going to come to me. The kids will come for holidays. Ryan will come with his girlfriend when he feels like it. Life is good in my house and my family. Don't you worry about it. So whatever your beefs are, run away and paddle them somewhere else, because you sound weird, you sound jealous, and women are very weird on women, and I don't know why. Because I don't run up in your comments judging you. You know, just saying. Women should be supporting women. Also, it's 2026, and you know, if women can't make choices that are progressive, what the hell is wrong? What the hell is wrong with the world? Women fought for the ability to make choices just like this. Men have fought to be seen just as much of a parent as women. What's wrong with you? Me and my family are progressive. We ain't worried. Worried about you though.
Now the outrage gets dressed up as concern. Men are avoiding commitment. Men are emotionally unavailable. Men are broken. Translation: men are no longer playing a game that only works when they're afraid of being alone. When a man stops chasing validation, the entire dynamic short circuits.
I am extremely terrified for women in 2026. It is no surprise that they are going after a federal abortion ban. We all know that that's coming. The writing has been on the wall. They're obviously also trying to go after birth control and other women's health services. But beyond that, it is really the extent to which they have now normalized rape in this country to a place where, you know, it has always been normalized. Let's be real. And especially for anyone who is a millennial or older, we grew up in a time where children and young women were really, really fetishized. It's disgusting. And it's part of why we're here today, where all of these people are just completely okay with. And it is insane how we have seemingly regressed. And we are at a place right now where these men in power, they do not see rape as a thing. In my opinion, that is what they are essentially saying. They do not think it is possible for, let me be clear, a white man to have raped a woman. Unless it fits their narrative, of course. And I've been saying this for a while, but I think they are going to take away marital rape as a thing altogether. They're already going after no-fault divorce. They've gone after women-dominant professions. They are going after education. They are doing everything possible to try to limit resources given to women to be financially independent. And they are very pressed on raising the birth rate. And it is a very scary time because there are a lot of young women just living their lives, swiping, going on dates, whatever. And you just really don't know who you're getting involved with. And that's just flat out. That has nothing to do with politics in general. You could be with someone for years before their true colors really show themselves. And that terrifies me for women, especially young women right now in this climate. One of the things that I do think they'll eventually try to go after is our financial independence. And I think it will start with married women. The same way they're trying to go forward with the SAVE Act, I think they're going to try to make it so that the man of the household is the one that controls the money. And I think they're going to make it even more difficult for women who are independent, single women to get loans, to get bank accounts. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be like The Handmaid's Tale tomorrow, but I do think they're going to chip away at our rights in a way that we have not seen in our lifetime. And I just wish more women would pay attention. Right now, these cult members are openly excusing rape. They did that already. They're openly excusing child. They are relishing in the violence against women at the hands of the secret police, pregnant women. Literally, they are injecting pregnant women with things in these detention facilities. You know how many women have miscarried in these detention facilities? You know how many women have been assaulted in these detention facilities? And a lot of white women will just turn the other way because they don't care, because it's not happening to white women yet. If you are involved with a man who is okay with these things and you do not think it's going to turn back on you, you are so misguided. It is actually tragic. And to be clear, I think women should do whatever the fuck they want. I do. If your life goal is to be a trad wife, I support you. But I do want women to tread cautiously, because men do not have our best interest in this country. Men as a system do not have our best interest in this country. Women fought for our rights. You don't have to agree with my views to understand the fact that we would not be behind these phones. We would not have our jobs. We would not have fuck shit, our education, nothing, if women did not fight for those rights. And to just look the other way while they are pissing them away, for you not to care because you identify with the racism and the patriarchal views of that party is dangerous to you. You will not be picked, because the hatred towards women in this country is unmatched. And it is predominantly your men that do not see us as they don't care about our rights, girl. This is already too long, but I really hope that all women start to realize we are not that far away from a time where we did not have any financial independence. And they overturned Roe, so do not think for a second that they're not going to try things.
What really stings is that these men aren't bitter. They're not angry. They're not ranting. They're just unavailable. And nothing unsettles entitlement like realizing the people you expected to cave have discovered they don't need to participate at all.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Men grow up their whole lives being taught how to treat a woman, but never what to expect from one. While women grow up their whole lives being taught what to expect from a man, but never how to treat one. And that imbalance is quietly destroying all modern relationships. Because from a young age, men are taught to open doors, pull out chairs, be patient, be understanding, be accommodating, prioritize her needs, and absorb her complaints. But no one ever teaches them how to set boundaries. No one ever teaches him that his needs, his desires, his emotional safety actually matter too. So he grows up overgiving, overfunctioning, self-abandoning. And when he finally starts to feel that all his efforts are unseen, unappreciated, and most importantly, unreciprocated, when he finally realizes that they are not going to treat him the way that he treats them, he doesn't explode. He goes quiet. He withdraws. When he does this, that withdrawal gets labeled as emotional unavailability, disinterest, as him not caring anymore. So what does she do? She goes and vents to her friends. And what do? They all validate her feelings. tell her she deserves more. And we all know what path that leads to. But what never gets examined, the question that women never seem to ask, what could she do to make things better? What did he need and never received? This is why most relationships get to a point where they are filled with resentment instead of love and attraction. And that's where men stop showing up, not because they don't care, but because caring has cost them too much for too long. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. A man who knows his value stops chasing her approval, stops trying to do anything he can to make her happy. He starts setting his boundaries, his standards, and when he does, this type of dynamic either rises to meet him where he's at, or he will walk away because a toxic relationship like that is far beneath him. And that's not arrogance. It's self-respect and self-care. Something that men have been taught they are not allowed to do for far too long. Stay strong, Kings.
Men didn't reject relationships. They rejected bad terms.
Listen, I'm gonna hurt a lot of feelings with this one. And listen, I'm a woman that got her degree, but I had to learn this over time too. Men are out here cheating on women with bachelor and master's degrees for hoes who can't even find their birth certificate. Let me just say this. Them hoes who can't find their birth certificate, 9 times out of 10, they can hold a conversation. They got that Gaga 3000. They're fun. They full of personality. They're not stuck up. They know how to go on a basic date and be grateful. And they know how to appreciate a man. No man wants to be with some stuck up Hasidity joint that got her standards all the way up to here. You feel me? Above and beyond. Where to a point where nigga can't even please her. You never satisfied. That's the main thing. A lot of y'all women is never satisfied. I know because I've been there and I've done that. The woman is never satisfied. We always want more and more, and we always trying to pick and nip at things. We never could just take a nigga as he is. We be trying to build a nigga, and that's dead wrong. When as a man, when he like a woman, he gonna take her as she is and accept her for who she is and move on. Men are black and white. We be the ones with the gray areas, and then we wonder why us females with master's and bachelor's degrees and a 5-star car and house and everything, why that man is stooping down to a hoe that can't find her birth certificate. A lame bitch, which I claim to be a whack joint. Nah, this is really facts. Get it together.
What's going on with women these days? We used to be a lot happier than men, and now we're not. What happened?
What you've found is that over the past 20 years or so, women have converged downward to the unhappiness levels of men. And at first I thought, great, men are getting happier. Women are getting unhappier, is what we find. And they're getting unhappier very quickly. And so there's a lot of different theories of it. You find that there's a lot less family formation going on. There's a lot less marriage. You find that men and women are diverging politically really, really quickly. You find that women are getting much more politically progressive and men are getting more conservative. And so the result of it is that, especially in a culture where people think that the most important thing for making a romantic match is voting for the same party idiotically, social media is especially targeted at young women. It's creating a whole lot of misery with social comparison, with political hatred, with the sense of loneliness that's crawling out of people's smartphones. And all these things together are creating an epidemic of unhappiness among women, especially young women in our society today.
And the most terrifying part for anyone watching? Men aren't waiting to be convinced. They already found peace, and they're not giving it up for noise, chaos, or contracts that don't benefit them anymore.
Something we don't acknowledge on the left is that women aren't interested in mating with men who aren't economically viable.
But why do we hate those women? Because when it was reversed, When it was more men graduating from college, you didn't see women lining up to hate them. And now those young men look at those women, those successful women, and they look at them with anger, with fury. Explain this one to me.
So you're absolutely right. And when these men get isolated, they are more prone to misogynistic content. They're less likely to believe in climate change. They're more prone to the conspiracy theory. The guy who attacked Salman Rushdie, that wasn't about a fatwa. That was about a young man living in his mother's basement. What I would argue, though, and I get pushback from feminists on this, that I want to be clear, no one has an obligation to service men who aren't having sex. What I would say, though, is unless we make an investment in young people such that they're economically viable and they can establish relationships, and part of that is discipline around not watching a lot of porn, getting a job, going to school, taking responsibility for your own life. But without a viable class of young men who are doing well, no group has fallen further faster in our nation than young men.
What really rattles them is that men didn't become happy after finding someone. They became happy without needing anyone. That flips the power dynamic completely. When men stop seeing relationships as the finish line and start seeing them as optional add-ons, the urgency disappears. There's no clock ticking in his head, no fear of ending up alone, no desperation to impress.
So yesterday, I made a video in which I put out my theory that the majority, or at least most men that are single, are not as lonely as a lot of individuals out there would like us to believe. In fact, from the majority of the comments from men, most men have actually found it rather peaceful being single. And this seemed to upset some individuals, and by some I mean some women, some of whom left some very disparaging comments in regards to what they thought of me. But it doesn't matter what they think of me. What I want to know is, why would some women get upset that men are more happy single than they were in relationships? Because I think we all know that sometimes it's worse to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't appreciate you than to be single and be by yourself, where you don't have to worry about impressing anyone or worrying about what they're doing. So why would some be upset about what the guys were saying?
Bachelor men in 2026 aren't hiding at home sulking. They're building routines, stacking wins, and curating lives that feel calm and controlled. They socialize when they want, disengage when they don't, and walk away the moment something feels like a net loss. And once a man realizes he can exit without consequences, the leverage vanishes overnight.
Okay, so this is something that I realized about men. Men have too much anger. Too much anger. And you know what I realized about women? We don't have enough anger. We have anger, but we don't have enough anger outside of our bodies, like to show people. So I think we should steal the surplus of anger that men have. Let's just steal some. For 2026, let's just be angry. I'm ready to be angry in a healthy way. I'm ready. And I'm ready for the anger not to stay inside my body. I'm ready for the anger to come out of my body. So let's borrow some anger from the boys. Yeah. Okay.
That's why the messaging sounds frantic now. Happiness without permission is dangerous. A man who enjoys peace can't be guilt, rushed, or shamed into settling. He doesn't argue, he opts out. He doesn't complain, he reallocates. And nothing feels more threatening than realizing the people you assumed would always need you simply don't.
I think a lot of men and women are angry at each other. And I think there's almost this war that is brewing within society because women feel like men can't meet their expectations, that they're setting these expectations and men are just failing to meet them. And on the flip side, men are feeling discouraged and irritated and angry and rejected because they feel like these standards are set too high. How do we fix that? What's the solution to the problem? The solution to the problem is the Word of God. Because without a relationship, without marriage, the Lord calls us higher. As women, the Lord teaches us how to speak life into a man. Am I gentle in my speech? Am I also being truthful and standing firm on the foundation that I've built on Christ? How to speak life into the relationships around us. How to first become that woman of God who is strong, who meets those standards before putting those expectations on a man. And in the reverse, men, how can I take a step higher? What are the standards in my life that I want to meet? If I have certain addictions, if I have certain pains, if I have certain troubles, those can be broken by the blood and discipline in the name of Yeshua. That requires a discipline to walk that out, and it requires a discipline to first say, hey, I need help and I want to start. Lord, help me get better.
So yes, it worries them. Not because men are single, but because men are content. And when contentment replaces fear, the old pressure tactics stop working. The chase ends. The bargaining ends. The noise fades.
They're not coming. They're not coming. The gentleman that said that they would protect women and children, that we need them because they protect women and children, they read the emails and they're not coming. There's more emails, there's more testimonials, and they are not coming. They have not arranged a meeting. They have not sent out an email. They're not coming. So we will gather. A couple weeks ago, I sent out a text message. I sent out a TikTok. I posted it on Instagram, and I asked, we need 1 million voices. We need the collective of remarkable women organizations and groups, and we have received over 100 submissions. So think about it. 100 women's groups becomes 200 women's groups, becomes 300 women's groups, organizations, women in construction, women in law, women nurses of Minnesota, whatever. Your small group that has 200 women, 2 women, or 2,000 women, or 2 million women together, we're the economy of scale that is necessary because they are not coming. They've seen the evidence, they've heard the crying, the testimonials, and it has not moved them. So that means we must move. There is a link in the bio if you'd like to join, because no one is coming to save us. Women must save themselves.
Men didn't lose interest in love. They just stopped sacrificing happiness to prove they were worthy of it.
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.